The abandoned warrior, the sky above the dead moon was burning red. Screams, smoke, and laser fire filled the battlefield. The extraction ship hovered low, ready to leave. Alien soldiers in dark armor ran toward the ship, carrying the wounded and firing back at the enemy. Among them was Sergeant Ray Carter, the only human in the unit. Ray's boots slid across the dust as he dragged a fallen comrade toward the ship. But when he looked down, it wasn't a human soldier. It was a giant alien warrior, motionless. His armor cracked and his breathing slow. The alien's name was Torvak, a commander of the Valkyr, a warrior species known for strength, honor, and no mercy. His tall frame was now broken, lying face down in the dirt. One side of his body was twitching. The other lifeless. Ray shouted over the comms. "Torvak's down. He's alive but paralyzed." A cold voice replied in his earpiece. It was Commander Zir, leader of the alien unit. "Leave him. The warrior is finished. He cannot fight. We move." Ray's heart pounded. He looked back at the dropship. It was about to rise. The rest of the team was boarding, leaving the battlefield behind. "But he's still breathing." Ray yelled. "He is not one of your kind, human," Zir replied. "And not one of ours anymore." The comms cut off. Ray knelt beside Torvak. The alien's eyes were open, staring up. He couldn't move, but Ray could see something in his eyes. Fear. No, shame. The warrior knew he had been left behind. Ray checked the alien's vitals. Weak, critical, but alive. The ship engines roared louder. Dust blew into Ray's face. He turned to look. He could still run. He could still make it, but he didn't. Ray stood over Torvak and raised his voice into the wind. "I'm not leaving you." The ship lifted, engines roaring above. Within seconds, it vanished into the sky, leaving nothing but silence and smoke. Ray was now alone. He dragged Torvak's body away from the battlefield, step by heavy step. The enemy had stopped chasing, for now. Ray found a small rocky cave and pulled the alien inside. There, in the dark, he started setting up a small survival zone using leftover gear and medkits. Torvak couldn't speak, couldn't move. But his eyes followed Ray. Ray placed a small light on the ground. "Okay, big guy," he said quietly. "Let's see if you're still in there." He pointed to the light. "Can you blink once for yes?" The alien blinked once. Ray exhaled. "Good. Now blink twice for no." 2 blinks. Ray smiled. "We're going to make it." As hours passed, Ray treated the alien's wounds. He used his limited supplies to keep him alive: fluids, oxygen, and basic medical aid. Torvak's body was broken, but his mind was sharp. Through simple yes-no blinks, they began to communicate. Ray learned that the energy blast had damaged Torvak's spine. No movement below the neck, no speech, but full awareness. "You're still in there, huh?" Ray said one night. "Still fighting." Torvak blinked once, strong and slow. Ray paused. "Why did they leave you?" No answer. "You would have stayed for them. I saw it back on Delta 4. You carried Zir when he was hit. You saved him." One slow blink. Ray clenched his jaw. "And he left you here to die." The alien blinked once, but this time the blink lingered, as if it heard. Days passed. Ray hunted small creatures for food, collected water from the cave walls, and kept the alien alive. Every sound outside made him reach for his rifle. Enemy patrols still scanned the moon's surface. Ray couldn't call for help. The comms were jammed, and his signal beacon was damaged in the crash. They were truly alone. But something strange began to happen. Ray, once just an observer in the Valkyr army, began to see Torvak not as a monster or tool of war, but as a fellow soldier, a warrior left behind by his own people. Just like so many human veterans Ray had seen on Earth. "You're not just bones and armor. Ray whispered one night. "You're still fighting in there?" Torvak blinked once. A bond was forming, built not by words, but by loyalty. Ray wasn't just keeping the alien alive. He was giving him something the Valkyr had taken away. Dignity. But peace never lasts. On the sixth night, Ray climbed a ridge to scout. There, across the moon's surface, he saw them, dark shapes moving near the crash site. Not Valkyr, not friendly. Enemy patrols. They were back. And this time, they were close. Ray slid back into the cave and looked at Torvak. "They're coming." The alien didn't blink. Because he didn't have to. They both knew survival would not come easy, but they weren't alone anymore. A fly landed on the alien's eye. It sat there for 5 seconds. Then 10. But Torvak couldn't blink it away. Ray saw it from across the cave. He was chewing dried meat, half asleep, when he noticed the tiny insect walking across the warrior's face. He dropped his food, stood up, and gently brushed it away. "Damn thing," he muttered. "You can survive war, but not a bug." Torvak blinked once, slow, grateful. Ray crouched beside him. "Still with me?" One blinked out. Ray nodded. "I've been thinking. You're trapped in that head, right? But you're still smart, still a warrior. So let's talk." That night, Ray created a system, a basic blink code. 1 blink for yes, 2 for no. Then he added more. 3 blinks. Danger. Long blink. I need help. Blink, blink long. Enemy spotted. Torvak learned fast. He may have been paralyzed, but his mind was sharp like a blade. Together they began to communicate, slowly, carefully, but clearly. Ray called it blink speak. They practiced for hours. Ray would hold up objects. "This is water. Blink once. 1 blink. This is a grenade. Blink twice. 2 blinks. Soon they were talking like old friends, without a single word, but the silence around them was growing louder. Ray noticed strange sounds outside the cave, mechanical, echoing, like someone or something was scanning the area. He returned to Torvak, tense. "They're looking for us. Probably enemy drones." Blink, blink. Danger. Ray nodded. "Yeah, we can't stay here much longer." That night, he decided to explore deeper into the cave system. He rigged traps at the entrance, left Torvak safe with supplies, and followed the path into the darkness. Using a dim blue light, the air grew colder. Walls turned from rock to strange metallic veins. Something about this cave wasn't natural. Then he saw it. A large, circular chamber with glowing symbols carved into the walls. Alien markings, not Valkyr. Older, ancient. At the center stood a ruined machine. It pulsed faintly, like a heartbeat long forgotten. Ray whispered, "What the hell is this place?" He returned to Torvak and described everything. Alien blinked once, then paused, then blinked again, long and slow. His breathing changed. For the first time since the crash, his eyes widened. Ray leaned forward. "You know what it is." 1 blink. Ray grabbed his notepad and started drawing the symbols he'd seen. Torvak blinked, rapidly, like panic. Ray frowned. "What is? Is it dangerous?" 2 blinks. Then, "Is it powerful?" 1 blink. Ray stared at the cave walls. This wasn't just a hiding spot. It was something more. Something valuable. Over the next 2 days, Ray worked on the ancient machine. He cleaned panels, connected a few energy cells from the wreckage, and powered it up, just enough to activate a signal. A weak pulse echoed from the cave. Torvak blinked once. Signal sent, but Ray's smile faded. "We don't know who it's calling." Suddenly the cave shook slightly. Distant rumbling, not natural. Not thunder. Engines. Ray ran to the ridge and peered through his scope. A new ship had entered orbit. Smaller, sleeker, Not Valkyr design. Definitely. Not human. Enemy craft. They had followed the pulse. Ray ran back to Torvak. We have to move. Torvak blinked once, then gave a slow 3-blink code. Danger. Danger. Ray nodded. We walk, or I drag. He started building a sled out of scrap, ropes, and armor plating. Torvak would be mobile again, not walking, but moving. That was enough. Before they left the cave, Ray looked at the ancient machine one last time. It had woken up something, and now they were being hunted. The cave began to breathe, or at least, that's how it felt to Ray. Cold air moved in and out through the cracks in the stone, like a sleeping beast exhaling. The blue light from the ancient machine pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat still alive. Beneath the rock, Torvak lay silent on the sled Ray had built, strapped down, protected, ready to move. His eyes were open, calm, but watching. Ray stood at the entrance of the cave, rifle in hand, listening. He could feel it now, not sound, not movement. Presence. Something was out there. Ray knelt beside Torvak. They're close. I don't know. How many? Torvak blinked once, then again, then gave the 3-blink signal. Danger. Danger, danger. Ray checked his equipment. A half-dead blaster, 2 grenades, and an old knife. No backup, no comms. Just him, a half-functioning alien. Warrior, and whatever was out there in the dark, he whispered, time to move. The sled scraped softly against the stone floor as Ray pulled it out of the cave. Every sound felt louder than it should be. The wind, the shifting dust, the steady breath of the paralyzed alien. They moved through a narrow canyon, shadows towering on both sides. Then a sound, metal scraping metal. Ray froze. He dropped low, pulling the sled behind a rock wall. Then he saw them, 3 figures, tall, thin, robotic, but not fully machines. Their bodies shimmered like mirrors, bending light. Their faces had no eyes, just smooth glass. Ray's breath caught in his throat. They were trackers, enemy hunters used for silent cleanup missions. Not soldiers, not scouts, executioners. They stopped near the cave entrance, scanning the ground. One of them turned directly toward Ray. Ray knew they could smell heat. He wrapped a thermal blanket over Torvak, then pressed himself into the dirt. The tracker stepped closer. Ray's hand gripped his knife, slowly, quietly. One more step and it would see them. Then a sudden wind swept the canyon, stirring dust everywhere. Ray didn't wait. He grabbed a small metal shard and threw it across the canyon. Clink. The sound bounced off the stone. The tracker turned and walked away. Ray exhaled slowly. His heart was pounding like a drum. Hours passed before they reached a safer area, a small ridge with high rocks and a flat center. Ray set up camp again. The moon's second sun was rising now, casting a red glow on the land. Ray looked at Torvak. You knew what they were, didn't you? 1 blink. Ray frowned. Why didn't you warn me earlier? 2 blinks. Not sure. Torvak blinked again, slow, then fast. Ray paused, trying to understand. You thought they wouldn't follow the signal? 1 blink. Ray looked toward the sky. Yeah, well, they did. He turned back. What are they really? Torvak blinked 4 times. Ray raised an eyebrow. 4 blinks? We didn't plan that one. Torvak blinked once. Ray thought for a moment, then chuckled. You want a new code? He picked up a stick and started drawing in the dirt. A circle, a triangle, then a tracker silhouette. You tell me what you know, he whispered, and I'll draw it out. Torvak blinked once. Over the next few hours they created something new, battle strategy through symbols. Ray would draw shapes. Torvak would blink for changes, positions, danger zones. Together, they mapped the enemy's path. Together they laid a plan. And when the sun dipped low again, Ray stood tall and said, "Let's give them something to find." He set up decoy trails using his gear, fake heat signatures, false footprints, and one broken piece of his uniform leading in the wrong direction. Then he waited behind a ridge with his rifle, ready. The shadows came. Trackers moved quietly into the trap. 1, 2, 3. Then a fourth. A commander. Ray whispered, "Gotcha." He waited, watched. Then he attacked. A flash grenade blinded the first two. Ray's shots were precise, hitting joints and circuits. One tracker fell, sparking and twitching. Another turned, and Ray was already moving. He rolled, dodged a plasma beam, and stabbed upward with his knife into soft wiring under the armor. 2 down. The third tracker jumped forward, but a trap went off, a plasma mine Ray had hidden earlier. It exploded, lighting the night sky. Only the fourth remained. Ray ducked behind rocks. He was out of ammo. The tracker moved slowly, scanning. Then, something unexpected. A warning signal blinked on Ray's wrist monitor. Torvak had activated the ancient machine remotely. From the cave, a low hum began to build. The tracker turned, confused. The hum grew louder. Ray smiled. "You're not the only one with surprises." The ancient device sent out a pulse, strong and sudden. The final tracker froze mid-step. Its body shook, sparks flying from inside. Then it collapsed, twitching, and died. Ray stood still, breathing hard. He looked at the blinking device on his wrist, then up at the stars. "Your turn, Torvak," he whispered. "What the hell are we sitting on?" The machine began to sing. It was not a song made of music, but of memory. Low vibrations echoed from the cave walls, like the growl of a forgotten god. Strange lights danced across the surface of the ancient device Ray had accidentally reactivated. Symbols glowed in a language older than any human had ever seen. Ray stood still, watching. And beside him, Torvak was crying. Not with tears. His kind did not shed them, but from his eyes a soft glow appeared. His breathing changed. His body trembled slightly. It was the first time Ray had ever seen the giant warrior afraid. Ray knelt beside him. "You know this place." Torvak blinked once, hard and fast. Ray spoke gently. "It's not just a cave, is it?" One blink. "It's Valkyr." 2 blinks. Ray hesitated. "Not Valkyr?" Torvak blinked again, then a long, slow blink, followed by 2 fast ones. Ray sat back. "Wait, older than Valkyr?" One blink. The wind outside screamed suddenly, like the machine's pulse had disturbed the air itself. Ray glanced at the sky. Clouds were forming fast. Something had changed. Ray lit a small fire and pulled out his notepad. He opened to a fresh page. "Tell me everything," he said, holding a piece of charcoal. "We'll use blink speak and drawings, just like before." Torvak blinked once. Ray drew a symbol on the page, the glowing circle from the machine. He pointed to it. "What is this?" Torvak blinked once, then again, then gave a new code. 1 blink, 2, then 3 in quick succession. Ray frowned. "New code again?" The warrior blinked once. Ray sat up. "All right, let's build a new language." For the next 2 hours, the soldier and the paralyzed alien created a more complex blink system, simple shapes, old battle symbols, movement codes, danger levels, and history indicators. And from that, the truth began to unfold. Thousands of years ago, before the Valkyr Empire rose, a different race ruled this part of space, a forgotten species called the Kelthar. They were creators of machines, builders of minds. Peaceful at first, but later, corrupted by fear, they built hidden bunkers across the stars. Some were weapons, some were vaults, and a few were signals. Beacons that could awaken old networks, control starships, or wipe out entire systems. Ray's jaw clenched as he pieced it together. This machine. It's one of those beacons. One blink, and we just turned it on. One blink. Ray looked toward the sky again. Then everyone is coming. Later that night, the wind brought whispers. Ray couldn't explain it, but he could feel it. A vibration in his chest, like the machine was speaking to something far away. Then the real danger arrived. A soft whine. Then a distant flash. Ships entering orbit. Ray grabbed his scope. He saw 2 dropships falling fast through the clouds, not enemy, not human, not Val. KOR. Unmarked. He returned to Torvak. Scavengers. The warrior blinked once. Slow. Scavengers were worse than soldiers. They didn't care about sides. They hunted signals, stole tech, and left no witnesses. They'll kill us both, Ray said quietly, and sell this place for parts. Torvak blinked once, then gave the old battle code. Fight. Ray smiled. Damn right. Ray spent the next day building traps around the cave entrance, old grenades, tripwires, sharp stones coated in paralyzing agent. The machine's signal was stronger now, glowing brighter. The scavengers landed at dusk. Ray watched from the ridge as the doors opened. 4 figures stepped out, armored, fast-moving, scanning everything. One of them had a drone that buzzed. Ahead. The drone flew toward the cave. Ray whispered, "Now." He triggered the first trap. The drone exploded in a flash of light, sending smoke everywhere. The scavengers ducked, and Ray fired. His first shot took one in the leg. The second missed. They returned fire fast. Plasma bolts slammed into the rocks, barely missing him. But Ray knew the terrain. He led them straight into the trap zone. One scavenger tripped a wire. A grenade blasted upward, tossing the attacker. Against the rocks. Another moved toward the cave and found Torvak waiting, still paralyzed. But watching. As the attacker stepped forward, the ancient beacon pulsed again, sending a blinding light that knocked the scavenger back. Unconscious. Ray dropped the last one with a clean shot. Silence returned, for now. After the battle, Ray sat beside Torvak, watching the sky. They're going to keep coming. One blink. Ray pointed at the machine. Can you shut it down? 2 blinks. Ray sighed. Then we move again, but not just to hide. He looked at the stars above. We find the others. The rest of these beacons, before someone worse does. Torvak blinked once. Slow, strong. Together they had just survived again. But now, the real war was waking up. Ray hadn't heard a human voice in 12 days. Then suddenly, it came through the static. Sergeant Carter, respond. We received your signal. Are you alive? Ray froze mid-step. The voice echoed from his half-broken comms unit, buried under days of dust and silence. He looked down at it like it was a ghost. Then slowly, with trembling fingers, he pressed the reply button. Carter here, he said, voice dry, cracked. Still breathing. There was a pause. Copy that. Your emergency ping reached a deep patrol unit. We're rerouting to your position. Ada. 4 hours. Sit tight, soldier. Ray stared at the tiny blinking light on the device. 4 hours. 4 hours to rescue. 4 hours to freedom. 4 hours. To make a choice. He turned toward the sled, where Torvak lay watching him silently. The alien blinked once. Slow. Ray didn't answer. He just sat down on a nearby rock and buried, his face in his hands. Ray had dreamed of this moment for days. Real food, real rest, a warm ship. Earth air. But now that it was here, he felt nothing but a growing weight on his chest. The signal had only reached command because of the ancient machine Torvak helped power. The wounded alien, silent, broken, abandoned by his own, was the reason Ray was getting out. And now, they wanted him to come out alone. 1 hour later, a new message arrived. Carter, this is Captain Mira Rhodes. Listen carefully. You're in Caltha ruins, highly classified. We are to extract you immediately. Do not attempt to bring foreign biologicals. I repeat, leave all alien elements behind. Ray stared at the comms, then looked at Tor single quotes VAK. The warrior blinked twice. Ray understood. You heard it too, he whispered. They want me to leave. You, Torvik blinked once, soft, slow. Then a second blink. And a third, 3 blink code. Danger. Ray leaned forward. Danger for me? 1 blink. Or for you? 1 blink. Ray stood up and paced the cave like a man walking through fog. This is insane, he muttered. They think you're a threat. They'll study you. Maybe worse. He slammed his fist against the rock. But without you, I wouldn't be alive. And now they want me to thank them for the rescue? He turned back, eyes filled with frustration. I didn't leave you behind. I'm not like them. Torvik blinked once. Then a long pause. Then 2 blinks. No, Ray translated. You're saying I should leave you? 1 blink. Ray shook his head. Not happening. With 1 hour left before pickup, Ray packed his gear. Then he did something strange. He pulled out his military dog tags, broke them in 2, and tied 1/2 to Torvik's armor. He stared into the alien's eyes. On Earth. We have a saying, Ray said softly, no man left behind. He placed the comm unit beside Torvik and activated the emergency beacon. Then he drew a symbol on the wall, part human, part Valkyr, a blend of both. I won't leave, he said. Torvik blinked once. Then a long blink. Then nothing. The dropship arrived in fire and light. Its landing gear smashed the dirt outside the cave. Armed soldiers stepped out, weapons ready. Captain Mira, human, sharp-eyed, cold-voiced, walked to the cave with 2 guards. She found Ray sitting beside the alien. You disobeyed a direct order, she said. Ray didn't move. He saved me. He's paralyzed. He's not mission critical. Ray looked up. Neither am I. Captain Mira stepped closer. We leave now. The ruins are unstable. Extraction window is closing. Ray stood. Fine, I go. But he goes too. She narrowed her eyes. You're choosing an alien over your own people? Ray looked at Torvik, then back at her. No, he said. I'm choosing what makes us human. 1 hour later, the dropship flew through. The stars with both of them on board. Torvik strapped in quietly, breathing slow. Ray sat beside him, bloodied and exhausted. The crew stared. Whispered. 1 soldier muttered, He brought that? Ray didn't look up. He just placed a hand on the alien's armor and whispered, You're not cargo. You're my brother. And the war, the real war, was only just beginning. Asterisk. The war room went silent when Torvik entered. Strapped to a reinforced hover chair, body still paralyzed, armor cracked but shining, he rolled forward like a fallen king. His presence alone pulled the air tighter. No one said a word. Not the humans. Not the aliens. Not even the generals. But Sergeant Ray Carter walked right beside him, head up, shoulders back, as if the 2 of them were a full army on their own. The Alliance base. Orbiting planet Virex 9 was under threat. Scanners picked up a massive incoming fleet. Not human, not Valkyr, but something far worse. Calther descendants, awakened by the ancient beacon Torvik and Ray had triggered. They're coming to wipe out the beacon network, the commander said. And we're the first target. Ray leaned on the war table, voice calm but firm. Then we make our stand here. A colonel spoke sharply. You expect us to trust that thing beside you? Ray didn't even blink. That thing saved my life. Twice. Torvak said nothing, couldn't, but his eyes burned with a fire that filled the room with silence. Again, as alarms echoed across the base, Ray helped Torvak gear up. Not for walking, not for running, but for leading. Torvak's chair was upgraded into a mobile command rig, armed with short-range missiles, comms interface, and targeting AI. His mind would guide strategy. Ray would be his hands, legs, and weapon. Last stand, huh? Ray said, strapping a plasma rifle to his back. Torvak blinked once. Then once again, slower. Ray smiled. Yeah, we die? We die loud. When the enemy arrived, the sky looked like it was bleeding. Thousands of drop pods rained down like fireflies of death. The first explosions rocked the outer shields. Drones poured in. Biomechs crawled across the walls. Everything came at once. Ray and Torvak moved to the front lines. Torvak issued commands through blinking patterns and neural pings, guiding human soldiers, predicting enemy tactics. Ray led squads into fire, flanking, throwing grenades, pulling the wounded out by hand. The two of them were everywhere. Ray was breathless, armor scorched. Torvak's eyes never blinked, focused, calculating, sharp. Then came the Kelther Prime unit. 10 meters tall. 4 arms, armor of living metal. It crushed tanks like toys. Ray stared at it from a rooftop. Well, he muttered, that's new. The Prime locked eyes with Torvak, even from across the field. Ray felt it too. This wasn't random. It was personal. Torvak gave one. Blank. Then 2. Then a signal Ray had never seen before. What does that mean? He asked. Torvak blinked slowly, then paused. Ray decoded it. This one knows me. The Prime charged. Ray threw every explosive he had. Rockets, mines, heavy, cannons. Nothing stopped the creature. It smashed through squads, heading straight for them. Ray turned to Torvak. Ideas? Torvak blinked twice, then 3 times. I have one. You won't like it. Ray grinned. Perfect. With seconds left, Ray wired the mobile chair into the base's power core. Torvak's chair began to glow. Overcharged. The Prime came closer. Ray stood behind Torvak, hands on the trigger. I've got your back, brother. Torvak blinked once, and then they charged. The chair fired everything at once: missiles, plasma bursts, overload beams. Ray ran alongside, shooting, dodging, screaming. The Prime hit the ground hard, but not dead. Ray was thrown back by the impact. Dizzy, bleeding. He reached for his rifle, and then he saw it. Torvak's chair was broken. The power core was burning. Torvak was not moving. Ray crawled toward him. No, 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 no. The alien's eyes flickered. Ray gripped his arm. Stay with me. It's not over yet. One slow blink. Then nothing. The rest of the battle blurred. Reinforcements arrived. The Prime was destroyed by the final base cannons. The enemy retreated, but Ray didn't see victory. He sat beside Torvak's body. For the first time in years, he wept. Later, in the main hall, the Alliance placed Torvak's armor on display. Not as a trophy, but as a symbol, a sign of what happens when 2 enemies become brothers. Ray stood in front of it. He placed the other half of his dog tag on the display. He didn't just stand with us, he whispered. He taught us how to fight like warriors. Then he turned and walked into the next war. The battlefield had flowers now. Tiny purple blossoms grew in the cracks where fire once reigned. The sky was soft, and quiet winds moved across the ruins of the old outpost on Varix 9. There were no soldiers, no machines, no screams, only the grave. And the man who visited it every year. Sergeant Ray Carter stood alone at the edge of the cliff. His armor was gone. His rank was gone. His youth was gone. All he had left was memory and a promise. He knelt before a stone marker built from pieces of alien metal and human steel, fused by war and fire. On the surface was carved a name, not in letters, but in symbols, a language. Only two beings ever used their blink-speak. Ray ran a gloved hand over it. "You should have survived," he said quietly. Wind replied, "But not in words. After the final battle, the Alliance wanted to bury Torvak in a lab to study his armor. His brain, his last neural transmissions. Ray had refused. He'd stood before generals, scientists, alien leaders, and said only one thing. He fought for us. He dies with honor. They had listened, not because they cared, but because they couldn't match his conviction. Ray returned to Earth soon after, but not as a hero. He was discharged, stripped of medals, called unstable, emotional, unreliable. He didn't care, because across the stars and Valcor territory, something unexpected happened. A monument was built for a human. On a planet Ray never visited again, beneath a twin sun stood a statue, tall, armored, rough around the edges, not a warlord, not a conqueror, a man. At the base, a message. He did not leave the wounded. He did not follow orders. He chose honor over victory. He chose a broken warrior and gave him back his soul. Now, 10 years later, Ray rose from the grave one last time. His body was slower, his hair was gray, but his heart was still at war. He turned toward the drop shuttle waiting for him nearby because something new had begun. A voice crackled in his earpiece, young, nervous. "Sergeant Carter. This is Cadet Ilya from the new Alliance team. Are you sure you want to lead this mission? You've been retired a long time." Ray smirked. "I never retired. I just waited for people to catch up." "Sir, they're saying the new signal we found, it's another Kelthar vault. One like the first one." Ray looked back at the grave. "Then we better not screw it up this time." He climbed into the ship, armor light, eyes sharp. Inside, he saw a young alien soldier sitting quietly, Valcor, but different, smaller, nervous, wearing a human patch on his shoulder. The alien looked up at him. "They say you fought with my uncle." Ray nodded. "They say you watched him die," the alien added. Ray sat beside him. "No," he said. "I watched him live." As the ship rose through the sky, Ray reached into his pocket. Inside was a small metal charm, one half of a human dog tag, and one broken piece of alien armor fused together. A memory, a symbol, a promise. He closed his fist around it. And whispered one last time, "No one gets left behind."